Hi everyone. I have an amazing author who's internationally acclaimed. He's been published in many different journals across media, social media, and beyond. His name is author Haroon Rashid. Haroon, how are you? So Haroon is going to be joining me in just a second. He's joining us from India. How are you, Haroon?
I'm good.
Author Haroon Rashid. He's very well known across media, across social media, been published in magazines, as I mentioned to you, and he's very delicate, very sensitive topics that he talks about that I think that span the entire globe. The differences that transcend the differences that all of us have across the globe. They're very timely and they're very touching. I think he is probably the best poem that I've seen written during the pandemic, which we're going to talk about. So, Haroon, welcome. I'm so glad that
Thank you so much.
It's been a while since I've seen you. How are you right now? How are you coping with everything, first of all, in India? We're all hearing all the news, all the horrible records that are broken. Can you maybe start with just telling us how you're coping personally right now with this?
See, I'm maintaining all the social distance and all the guidelines that government is giving. I'm not going out, not even meeting my friends. It's been 2 months that I have met them, and I'm just being in my own space and try to beat like that.
Yeah, and I know that you have a large following that you have built up across the entire world, and I'm so glad that you are the person people follow because you genuinely care for our humanity, for nature, right? And your poems, your writing, it touches on a lot of the different aspects of how we can continue to be human, how we can continue to respect each other across different cultures. When did you start writing first? Can you tell us, just those of us who are listening, and why? What makes writing an escape for you?
See, writing is not an escape.
No.
It's kind of coming back to the reality. This is what I understood in the beginning of my life. Uh, in my school, I started writing, but that time I wasn't sure about being a writer. That time I was all about into sketching and all. So I think in 2013, for the first time, I have written something, and then in 2016, here in India, mass molestation happened in Bangalore. That kind of triggered me, like what is happening, why men are not respecting women, and why situations like these are happening. So kind of this triggered me. So I wrote an article, Real Man, what is being real man. So the moment I posted it on social sites, it gone viral, and a lot of personalities which I was not knowing came to it, read it, and appreciated it, and said, "This is what a real man needs to be." So that point of time, I realized that writing is something that can make humanity to come in one form. I was asking someone, even a lot of people in my life, that what is that profession that can make me to not look persons from description, rather than I will be looking them as a human. So this profession or this kind of writing just came to me so much that I realized this is something that is gonna make us all one, make us all realize that we all are one race, one community, and one world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes. And that's so. As you travel, I've traveled across many different places in this world, and I live in the United States now 31 years, and I've also realized that many of us actually forget that we have many more things in common than different. and you realize that when you meet with different people from so many different corners of this earth, and there's so much time that is probably wasted, and so much efforts and money, and unfortunately throughout our history, even blood and bloodshed, because of those differences and because people manipulate those differences. So we had the Olympic year last year, and you mentioned one spirit and one people, right, Haroon? And for me, the Olympics is a one time that the entire world comes together. And I was so disappointed last year that when we missed the Olympics. In my family, we even had our own home Olympics. I have 2 children, 4 and 6, and we we created some events, and we even went live on Facebook, and just to kind of share with our friends and family a positive spirit to lift them up, I'm just curious, what are you looking forward to the Olympics this year in Japan? Hopefully that, looks like they're going to take place. Do you watch the Olympics? Do you feel that it's one spirit also?
Yeah, obviously. It just makes us to, realize that there's so much more than the regular things that we are doing, and something that makes us to bring in oneness, one spirit. And we just feel like in Olympics, one thing I feel is that we people, whatever nation we belong, we don't see that this performer is from this nation or that. We just see that, wow, he's or she is performing so beautifully. And that's how we should, perform in our works. So obviously, I always look forward to it. And this year, if hopes it happens, it's gonna be amazing thing.
Yeah. So performing, I like I like the analogy that you mentioned, that we're emphasizing on the performance, right, of someone, but in an event, in the sports, and work, but we have to take that also to life, right, and to not just emphasize performance, but the connections that we make with others in the process of those performances, preparing for them, executing them, right, and really spreading ideas. I think also spreading ideas with people that we want to live with, we want to share our space and our environment with. So what are some ideas that you're spreading right now, most recently, as a result of what's going on in India or in general? What are some messages that are most important to you right now, Haroon? Why don't you share that with our audience?
Yeah. At present times, what is happening with world is, this poem, We Fell Asleep, it's just not a poem. It's more than that. I mean, it has given so much experiences to me that I can write 60 books out of it, and I will someday, perhaps. After writing that, what is happening in the world is that everyone is fighting for, like, races are fighting, religions are fighting, regions are fighting, genders are fighting, but no one is fighting to be a human. And that is something, we are missing. Perhaps this is what we need to fight for, really. And there are so many things happening. And if we see in the news that what is happening in the present, I just feel that I just wrote a poem last year. What is Hindu, Muslim, Buddhist, Sikh, or Christian? What is American, Chinese, Spanish, Arab, or Indian? Can't we see we are a creation of God in the form of human? Why there is so much disparity? For what are the fights in reality? Where is the professed unity? We are just left with insanity. Is Corona and enough reason to unite, or we will still continue fights of rich and poor, or black and white, of region and religion, or man and women? Perhaps why no fight for being a human? In you, I see a spark. Come on, ignite, and we will unite. And hearing this message is our goal, and we need to, work for humanity, because at the end of the day, we all are humans. I know that history is repeating in some form or the other, but I also feel that In our modern times, we are moving modern in gadgets, scientific things, and in behavior, we are just going backwards. Sometimes I feel that our insanity is our modernity, and if we have to, look from human perspective, so we need to grow in our ideas, thoughts, beliefs, emotions, feelings, that no one is different. We all are same. We all have a purpose in our lives. We need to understand our roles, and our role is not to fight. Our role is to contribute to each other's life. Like you are contributing to my life, I am contributing to your life, and we all somewhere are playing good roles. But then people who are playing bad roles are just destructing humanity in some way. Suppose a kid in some part of the place has a brilliant mind. He might bring a new innovation to the world, but is getting killed for no reason of the fights of nations, and we are losing such souls before they are contributing to humanity and earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's such a sad reality. It's such a sad reality that people unfortunately do not have the chance to contribute when their life is taken earlier, and where they're no longer in control of their life, their liberty, their pursuit of happiness. Right, as the American forefathers said when they created this nation here. What I picked up on from what you just said also, first of all, thank you for reciting that poem here. That's the latest poem. What is that poem called, Haroon? That one.
I have referred that poem as humanity.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I have referred that title of the poem as humanity.
Just humanity.
Humanity is the, yeah.
Yeah, humanity. Okay, so that's the new poem. I wasn't aware of that poem. Afterwards, I'm going to ask you to also read, or to us the poem that you have, the When I Fell Asleep, right, as well. Yes. I'll share also a surprise with you also, just to get a poem that I wrote many years ago before COVID, and I'll share that with you also as well. But what I picked up on what your comments were, just on your comments now, Haroon, was that we need to bring back humanism, right? Humanism, really, right? If if you think about the Renaissance, right, 4 or 5 centuries ago, right, the Renaissance, the people who funded the Renaissance, who endorsed it, who promoted, right, the moguls, these financial moguls who had lots of money, like the Florentine family, the Medici, they invested in philosophers, in people like you, for example, in poets, in writers, because they wanted to take a step back and actually revive those texts from ancient Greece, from Egypt, from everywhere. Because there was a lot of innovation happening, but they wanted to, they decided, that it was time to not just create art, but and not just to finance and sponsor art, but to explain why art is important, why that art is approachable to every single person, not just the rich, but also to everyone. And that's why you all of a sudden you start having these cities like Florence, which had large squares, and they had art everywhere, so that people, their general public, can also enjoy this beauty. So there was a lot of wisdom in why the art was being promoted and financed. And what you mentioned here, that was the innovation and the humanism, because innovation follows humanism, I think, right? And last year, usually, Haroon, at the end of every year, New Year's Day for me, like December 31st, is my favorite holiday. Also, another time when the whole world comes together, regardless, I think, of what they believe or where they're from, right? And so every year I send a message, I create a video. So last year, December, my message was the renaissance of new ideas in 2021, because we need that renaissance of new ideas. That's why that renaissance 4 centuries ago actually emphasized humanity. So I consider you a New Age humanist. and we need more New Age
Thank you.
humanists. Yeah, New Age humanists, and we need more New Age humanists like you, who challenge the conventional norms of communication, of across the globe. So I think your message is incredibly important, in terms of the innovation as well, not just reflection, reflection on how we're living, how we're treating, how we're working with, how we manage nature, but also how we innovate. It's been months, for example, since I've spoken to you, but I feel like we're friends, and we became friends through media because we share ideas. We're spreading similar ideas, right? Even if, let's say, my expertise is in the pharma industry, medical devices, right? So where we also need more creativity, we can always learn from a lot more creativity. So last week, I don't know if you attended my live, and I had another very creative lecturer and architect, right? He talked about creative space, designing his own space. So I want to ask you, Haroon, how do you create the space for yourself when you're most creative, when you write? What do you notice is most important to you when you create these poems that become viral across the globe?
I feel like when a writer writes, it's not the writer writing, it's the God writing through the writer. So whenever I'm writing, I just don't feel like I am writing. Something comes to me, all the thoughts in the world, they just assemble at one place, come to me, and deliver through me, or maybe I am the vessel God has chosen to deliver some sort of message. And that's how it's happening. Perhaps, talking of what you are talking about, spaces and all, I feel silence is the most powerful and impactful place. I always look for the silence, but at the same time, I feel noise has kind of relevance. We can understand people in the noise, and we can understand a lot in the silence. And I just feel that every emotion is a kind of an ocean of us, and every feeling is like rain, clouds, sunshine, temperaments, everything. So everything is important to me, and that just I feel plays a role, and I all the time in a writer form. So yeah,
So noise and silence. So you work very well in silence.
I can work in both ways. See, I will tell you one example. There was so much noise happening around me, but a lot of, I was in library. A lot of noise was happening, and most of the students were getting disturbed. But I was so much into the concentration because I was following my passion. When you follow your passion, no one can disturb you. But if you don't follow your passion, then any frustration can make you disturb. So I think passion can make us work in silence. Passion can make us work in noise and in any form. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you spend a lot of time outdoors? Do you find some
I
ideas
do.
outside, like when you venture out of the home, out of your office?
Yeah, yeah. I get ideas even I stay in home or go out. I mean, if you really look around, there are so many ideas floating. It's just that we need to capture it. And if we have that capacity, we can capture and make a great idea out of anything that is coming to us.
Mm-hmm. Any particular time of day? Do you find yourself working more in the morning, in the evening? You remember you attended the live, right, where the architect, he spoke about
Yeah.
the light, and we're most creative when there is natural light, right? And you want to recreate the natural light in your office design. So it was an interesting point, and based on a lot of evidence and research. Do you find that to be true, or are you one of the type of people, creative people, who work really late at night, for example, also, or outdoors or indoors, or
Yeah.
versus outdoors?
maybe that's also true. Perhaps I read somewhere that people are practical in day and creative in night. So, or maybe in the dark. So when I remember once I was sleeping and I just woke up and something I wrote on the paper and it was dark. I couldn't realize that I need light. So because light was coming from within me, so why I need light outside?
Yeah.
The bulb or tube light is there, a kind of making us to focus. Perhaps if light is you, focus is you, then you don't need to concentrate from extra things. Perhaps that is true what he said. In regular jobs, one needs to create such spaces, such environment which can work or make work people who are not feeling to work at a point of time.
The light is inside of you. I love the way you put that, Haroon. Yeah, and you have to find it. You have to discover it. I mean, a lot of time goes by for many people to actually get to know themselves, right? Before they, once you get to know yourself, you find that light, right? And once you become authentic and genuine, and you're able to demonstrate and to other people and express your identity, your personality the best way you can. But many people do not really take the time to reflect on themselves. Yeah. So I'd like to shift into your poem, if you want to. I want people to hear it. I'm going to post this on LinkedIn, on Facebook again, always, as I always do.
A lot of people say that this religion person or this nation person is great and kind of humanity. I just feel that the ones who has contributed in the human's life through innovation, through thoughts, ideologies, philosophies, are the real humans. Right now, the gadgets we are having, the person who created might have died, or we wouldn't have given credit to him for what he created. Perhaps we are having such a great life because of them. Same applies to all the things that are contributing in our lives in a great way. So we should pray for them when we are praying for ourselves, because they have gone, those souls has helped and is aiding our souls to have a comfortable and luxurious life in whatever way we afford.
And then you remember, at the end, you remind the humans that we are here because of nature, because of God, because of powers that we have to respect, right? And so, first of all, what was the message? What was your goal when you wrote this poem? What did you want people to do as a result of reading this poem? First of all,
every writing that I write, I know, nature chooses the writers and nature chooses the readers. So when I write something, it automatically goes to the readers that need it. And when I wrote this poem, I was just, into myself. I was feeling kind of so much emotional at that point of time, that what if we lose something? What if something or some person is so important to us is not there anymore? What this worldly affairs or worldly charms can do to us? And even without us, these clouds, rain, sun, earth, water, everything is there. What are we doing here? And when I saw while driving that people are, throwing something and all, I just feel that the way we respect our guests, we should respect our nature, be it in the form of land, waters, rivers, mountains, you know, any form. And even animals also. I have seen a lot of videos online that a lot of people, mistreat animals, beat animals, just because they can't speak and can't express through like us. That doesn't mean that we have, we are superior in some form or the other over them. So all these kind of mixed me to write this, and then readers derive meanings out of this poetry in their own forms. So every reader interprets this writing or any writing of any writer
Yeah.
in their simplicity and in their ways. So yeah.
Yeah, Haroon, the reason why I contacted you, why I invited you to be on my live maybe months ago, right, last year, was because I came across this poem, right, and it was so unique, so deep. It had a level of depth that was unprecedented to me, throughout this pandemic. I think you expressed what was the most important, most essential for all of us to understand across this entire world in that poem. It was just summarized in that poem. And when I invite someone to be my guest on my podcast, right, that I have on our lives here, it's the ideas. It's the ideas that I want to help spread. It's the ideas that I'm attracted to, that I feel are important, that I can continue to learn from in this conquest of, in this never-ending conquest for growth and learning. And the COVID now, regardless of where you're from, it really forced all of us to start from a clean slate. Those of us who reflected or who took something out of this, who've taken something out of this pandemic, we realized that community is most important. Stability, not sensationalism, not technology, like you said, right? That not to be dependent on technology itself, because now it's those hugs and kisses that have become weapons that we miss, right? That we want to say hello to our friends and venture out and share our time and our environment, this beautiful nature we have. And so my question in general is, how are you able to take, to actually have attention, to take those signals, those noise, out, right? Like to ignore everything that's kind of the technology that really doesn't serve you well, right? Or something. And how do you create signals? How do you pay attention? How do you focus on your work? How do you focus on what's essential? What's most important right now? Can you give some tips and advice to those people, whether or not they're creative, whether or not they're writing? How can they focus? Because clearly it's your focus that has allowed you to create such works, right?
See, whatever is happening in the world, be it in negative light or positive light, I feel if something is happening in negative light, what is my role? If something happens in USA or Dubai or in Mumbai or India or any place, what can I do? The pain that comes to me, I can't, see someone dying unnaturally. I feel so much, that just comes to me, and I can't, feel that. Perhaps I question myself, like, what can I do? And then I check all the attributes, whether I'm authoritative to guide, act on that or not. Then at the end of the day, I feel the greatest blessing that I have is the writing. Maybe if I will die someday, maybe someone will be there who can read these writings and he can become more human. Maybe the persons who are unable to, control their emotions are acting in a negative light. Maybe if they read something great all through their lives, they will be more humble, more respecting towards each other. And this is what I can, the role that I have understood of mine. And I feel that all the readers or all the people around, we all should understand our roles, whether we can act somewhere. If we can act, we should act definitely. But if we cannot, we should act otherwise in such a way that it can bring peace around. Because at the end of the day, we all survive success or struggle in peace environment. No one can struggle in a fluctuating environment or negative environment, and everyone just kind of wither away. So yeah.
Yeah, legacy, leaving something. As Andy Warhol said, right? point is, the point is not to live forever, but to leave something that will, to leave something through work, ideas. That's what the Renaissance gives us, or many other ancient philosophers, from before our, modern era even, right? And so you have a very important, very lofty, and very essential, probably, goal that you have, and you're thinking about legacy today, and all of us have to think about that, I think. And now I think the pandemic, if the pandemic has really stimulated us to think that way, I hope, I'm thinking. So this poem, going back to the poem, you mentioned that many different people interpret it in different ways, right? So for me, it was a reflection. For me, it told me that, look, we have to reflect again. And I reflect I find time to reflect, because most of my work is analytical work based on science, evidence-based medicine, trying to advance science and medicine based on studies and creating new studies, or helping educate, right? But at the same time, I spend a lot of time reflecting, on what we still need to do. I'm never happy with the status quo. I'm never happy with my own, what I've done. So I feel like I haven't scratched the surface of what I can do. So I'm trying to mentor others and coach others in order to extend the boundaries of their personality, their roles, think outside of just the role. So to me, your poem, when I shared it with many people, right? For some people, it was self-reflective. For some others, it was, let's say, sad, right? And make them think about something sad, right? But at the same time, not all of them choose to reflect on what's sad, because, the important, the trick really is for leadership, for true leadership, I think, is to describe reality accurately. Describe reality accurately without blaming people. You're not blaming anyone in this poem. You're describing reality as it is, in its purest form. And the Edwin Friedman actually has a quote that I recently learned from a course that I took on LinkedIn, in fact, Haroon, that the person who's able to describe reality without laying blame is the one who will emerge as a leader. And that's why you have emerged as a leader, with the ideas that you've shared, I think, because you're describing reality very accurately. So I'm looking forward to your books, what you're planning to publish. But there is there's the uplift, there's the positive side also, I think, from your poem. I think it's something to look forward to appreciate nature more, right? And to connect with your fellow human beings. Haroon, so do you write on Medium, by the way? What are some different channels of communication where you're spreading your ideas now? You've heard of medium.com, right?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah.
So you are there, right? And you do write there. Do you write poems as well as stories, short stories, or observations, or what kind of form do you write in?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to mention about this poem that we fell asleep. It's a kind of a mirror poem. We only look out of it, or kind of derive out of it, is what we are. If we are sad, we are deriving sadness. If we are hopeful, we are deriving hopefulness. So yeah, Medium. Yeah, I am there in Medium. I write articles, poems, quotes, short stories, movies. I have written so much, and I am planning to write so much. And it's just that I want to publish a lot. I have published one short book, I can say, author Haroon Rashid quotes, that is available on Amazon. And yeah, I just feel that a good writer is the one who can write anything. So if maybe I can write anything, yes. Yeah.
Sorry, what was that? I didn't hear that, the last part.
I said that a good writer can write anything. So maybe I can write anything and can become good soon. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoy writing also. I mean, dating back to the time when I was in college, one of my best friends, he used to write poems, and he would be able to, consolidate ideas with a rhythm into a poem in a very succinct, kind of brief way, and he's still one of my best friends today, and also one of the most creative people I know. But I find that I escape. For me, the time is no longer a dimension that has that controls me. Like I lose the sense of time when I write often, particularly if I'm very focused. So I think as I've become more entrepreneurial over the last 2-3 years, it was the writing articles on LinkedIn that helped me advance my business and share ideas with more people. So I've done webinars, in my industry, where I've integrated many different aspects of life, or let's say abstract concepts, with more tangible kind of scientific concepts, like culture in a company, as well as metrics. Like we think of two things separate: performance metrics, how well you do your job, versus how well you collaborate with others, culture. Right? We don't really quantify culture as much. We don't know how to, but there are ways to do it, and that's some of the norms that I'm trying to change, in my industry. But I want to read to you something that I wrote before the pandemic, and get some live feedback from you as an expert poet. Right? And yeah, and this was written before the pandemic, as I mentioned, and it was a product of some reflection of what we consider standard, what we accept, what we tolerate today, versus what we maybe didn't tolerate hundreds of years ago. Or you know what I mean? Like, so it was written in somewhat of a sad moment, but I don't want to, I want to give you that, of course, the freedom of interpretation. But here it is. What is the sense of living without much care, without showing tears, accepting the present without bringing back from what's past? That which was sacred, principles and laws, not written but understood, for which it's worth to fight till death like a lion would. All around when I look, what values once all overruled, now, if defended, make one a fool. It now matters more to compromise for what once back then led to a duel, for honor, for respect, for a love that cannot be spared, for a friend that is dear, for a country that brings you tears, for a right to simply live like mortals, yet consider love immortal, for sinister intentions, to go punished as with words left without action, and promises not attempted to be kept, for treason, treachery, or tricks, played with senses as with guitar strings. I listen here and I see a world so value-free, so disfigured, blind, sterile, and tense, yet nominating itself the free world where freedom reigns. That in every forecast there is of delusions flood, a warmer globe, but Arctic faces, blank without direction. Wherever you begin, those remnants, artifacts, no longer even argued, I still believe will, like fountains, fill in at least one man's conscience, and revive into the conscious what is now considered nonsense, and give this earth's humans a sound reason, a true passion to carry forward, ideas like countries, with seas separating with respect, a moment of joy more than of sadness, yet expressed and fought for with a vengeance, family defended like a fortress, judgment passed on man's actions in lieu of one's representations, children staying children, growing up with nature, armed with love, morals, and stature.
Beautiful.
So,
It's, I will say that the words formation is beautiful, and the emotions that are making it more beautiful. You have, kind of brought it from the sadness, then to courage, and then to the reality, then history. Then you have aligned it in such a way that it makes kind of, one to, it's like a river flowing in meander form, like the S shape, and reaching to a spot and making understand the value of water. So it's like that. You read it fast, and I can, make sense. Maybe you're not read fast, but this was a long poem, but I kind of sensed out it in such a way that I express now, and it was beautiful indeed.
Thank you. I'll send it to you. I'll maybe publish it on Medium.
Okay.
Yeah, because I did say
Yeah, sure.
fast, but yeah, it was the honor, and the respect, and how we have redefined it. And I think we need to redefine it again. It's a lot of things that I think we no longer value as much today that I think we need to bring back, and that's what was done before, when we take a step back, reflect, as I mentioned, and it can lead to unprecedented innovation, I think, and a more peace, peace as well. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Haroon.
It's the same way water does to a human. And water can be in any form. Firstly, it is polluted, then it is refined, then it becomes in mineral water, and then we drink. So you used the analogy in such a way that firstly, the polluted water, like humans are in tears and lost the hopes, lost the courage. But then you refined it. I'm just giving the analogy to your poem. So refined it, and then it became a mineral water. Like in the end, you challenged the things that needs to be challenged. Like what are we doing, and what is happening, and then what we need to do. So the reader who will read it will understand. Like in the beginning, he will feel sad sort of emotion, but at the end of it, he will feel like he just came out of a great bath. So yeah.
Thank you, Haroon. Yeah, that means a lot to me. Yes. So in your free time away from writing, do you what are some things that inspire you also? I want the people who will listen to this to get to know our author, Haroon Rashid. In addition to writing, in addition to poetry, what inspires you?
I like to work out because we might have greatest minds. Yeah, we might have greatest minds, but if our bodies are not fit, then we will never be able to channelize our emotions, thoughts in a great way. Our health is kind of energy that makes us to work. Like maybe if I am a great mind, but if my health was not well, I couldn't have attended this interview. So we need to be fit and fine. This is what I do, and apart from that, whatever time I get, I just kind of feel nature, irrespective of knowing the names of the flowers, trees, or whatever. No, concern or knowledge to know the facts of what is nature in the form, but just to feel, sit there and feel alive, like this is the moment, and I have to be in it and feel it with joy, with peace, serenity, and come back and do my work again. So we need to be, do all the stuff that we feel alive in, and that's it. That is what we should do.
Yeah, we're getting some great comments, by the way, Haroon. Yes, BOI 0709 says, hey, Haroon. F Frames, wow, I agree. So much, Angela, who's also a here on All Out Coach, big supporter of All Out Coach, with whom I co-moderate as well at Clubhouse. She says, thoughtfully considering one another, just where we are. She says.
You F Frames, as a filmmaker, fully agree. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, F Frames is a filmmaker. Okay, great. She's from, this person's from India as well, and so our thoughts and prayers, are going out to you, Haroon, all of you in India. It's just unbelievably how sad it has, the situation has become, but this too shall pass, and as you mentioned, we need to remember the people who have passed because of COVID, because of this tragedy. Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more about that, because too many people, I think, lost their lives where they shouldn't have ever. I think it was something that maybe could have been prevented. I still believe. I'm not going to get into the politics of everything, but it's really sad, and we need to just.
But
Yeah.
there's one thing happening. There's one thing happening. I just wrote that poetry 4 or 5 days back. I need to publish it. There are 2 lines that I want to say out of it. It's really sad, but yeah, it's happening. Some souls have already left. Some souls will soon left too. But some souls are ready to sell their soul. And your soul is not the one I'm looking for. In your soul, I feel the fragrance of heaven. Kindly don't mix it. Kindly don't mix it with sad souls or bad souls. You are the one who will bring peace, who will bring harmony, and will work for each other. So this I kind of it triggered me through what is happening. I don't know in different nations it's happening or not, but I will say, be a true human. Then you can be any true national person or any person, any kind of person you will be. If you can't be a true human, you can't say that or claim that you are a true national person. I see that, I'm just having this shivering kind of thing because I see a lot of people are dying, and a lot of people who are in the capacity are charging innumerate amounts, and where the amount is 2,000, they are charging 20,000. So it just saddens me. I just feel that we should become humans and we should do our part in more humanitarian way than being a devil and making profit out of something which is not gonna give us good results. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your thoughts there, sharing that. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I understand where you're going with your ideas there, and unfortunately, there's much more that we cannot control, and that's outside of our control. But I think what the hope is, the promise of humanists, New Age humanists like you is that once the ideology gains traction, once it spreads all over the world, positive ideas of empathy that promote humanity, I think that's what can actually change the pendulum, change the direction, once it gathers enough strength. So there's a lot of work you're doing, you're continuing to do, I'm sure. And I think we've learned some great lessons here. And just to summarize, right, you've spoken about the importance of connecting with nature, discovering your own light, the light within you that shines, right? Discovering it and sharing it with others for the right reasons. You've talked about the health. You've talked about the importance of health, being fit, continuing to be, in motion, to move about, be outdoors, in order to work on your health and fitness, which is, I think, an important point. And also, you've discussed, I hope that you've inspired people not to be ruled by technology, right? So take technology and apply it in a way that will spread ideas like you have done, right? But not to be dependent on technology, because technology, at the end of the day, it does not make us smarter or more intelligent. It just gives us exposure. It increases the exposure, right? Right now, if you have the ideas that matter, that are different, that are unique, like you can build brands, you can get following, build a community like you have done. So, I still, believe it or not, Haroon, I still use this phone, okay? And most of my work that I do is with this phone. Okay, and people have been making fun of me, laughing at me for many years at work, friends. This is a BlackBerry. I mean, I'm using this now, my wife's phone. This is a iPhone with which to do the IG because it has better picture quality. But I use the BlackBerry because I like the keys. All right, but I still post everything, all innovative ideas or anything from here. Okay, because I don't depend on technology, and I share that with you completely.
I will just say one thing that I just, kind of uh, making out of the We Fell Asleep poem, the last line. For Earth, we are guests and not masters. But for technology, we are not guests, we are masters. And we need to become master of technology. Else, they will ruin us. And, we need to become great. We don't need to have great technology. If we are not great, what greatness we can achieve through technology? Like you are using this phone and you have great ideas, you have great thoughts. If anyone can give you or invest something on you, you will make that product or make that thing in a very great way because you are working in something that people consider outdated. It's not outdated. Everything is relevant because it's there to aid us. So this outdated, updated, date and late is just words or it's just kind of stereotyping. So don't, if someone is making fun, let them laugh
Right.
and let them smile because if they might be sad somewhere, so they may be finding you as an emotional or finding you as a emotions charge of them. So you are the leader and they are the followers. If you are doing the same thing as they are, then everyone will be sad. So they are smiling, laughing, and you are doing great in your life. Keep doing great, and you will do great.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Haroon. Yes, I definitely follow that. I follow that principle. Yes. So let's see if anyone has any questions. I know a lot of people are joining. Ask some questions. We're gonna finish up here in a couple of minutes. I have a song that I want to share because it's an uplifting song that I used. And I told Haroon, I told you about this. So first of all, if anyone has any questions, please comment. This is your opportunity here. I'm going to invite, of course, Haroon every time he has a new poem. Every time he's going to be on my lives in the future. But follow him, follow me, all our coach Tim guys. Let's spread some ideas that matter. Let's have conversations that matter.
I will say, unfollow destructive people and start following creative people. Your life, your outlook will change and you will shine in such a way that you will have hopes, have courage, and have everything.
Yeah, so boy 0709. So she's asking you, what is your strength? What do you feel is your strength, Haroon? I think that's what her answer is. Yeah, her question is.
My strength is every person smiling. When I see someone smiling, I just feel like, there's so much pain around, and despite the pain, they are smiling, having the smile and walking like a lion or lioness. So I feel that's my strength. And apart from that, I find oceans, rivers, or, seas and mountains to be my strength. When I look at mountains, I just feel like, so what if I will fall? I will stand again like this mountain. So yeah.
That's beautiful. Beautifully said. Beautifully said, Haroon. Someone else's smile is your strength. That's a very poetic way to say it. And I know that this live and this discussion, I hope, will bring many smiles to people. And that was one of the reasons why I was really excited about speaking to you today, because I think that pragmatism, right, has gotten boring. It's pragmatism has gotten just too old, outdated. And that's why with poetry, with writing, you can actually, create new energy. You can refresh people. You can bring them smiles. And that was one of the big reasons why I do this also. Every Monday morning before work, 8 a.m. Friday morning, 8 a.m., I do business or book reviews, article reviews, in order to inspire people for the work week ahead and for the weekend ahead. You know, so thank you very much, Haroon. I just want to share this a song that I shared with my colleagues, with my friends during a difficult time last year during Thanksgiving time, Haroon. When Thanksgiving is the time when you gather together as a family, right? And you give thanks, right? You give gratitude to your family. But I think it was very important for us to give thanks for the people that we have around us, with us, you know, during this pandemic, particularly. There is so there is one more question before I share the song. I just want to make sure that our audience has their questions addressed. So, do you think you can put emotions on paper while writing, Haroon?
Yeah. Yes, obviously I can.
Yeah. Right.
Obviously, you know, every poem is kind of emotion. So whatever is it is an emotion that's speaking to you and making you feel alive, making you feel in joy, and making you feel like, you know, you are like a river flowing, like a romantic poems. When you read it, like there's a poem called A Spiritual Love. You came, we met. I will just say a few lines of it. You came, we met. Closeness is what I felt. Hearts started to melt. We took steps as a dealt. I don't know really, we'll be hubby and wife, but without you, it seems an incomplete life. With you, I feel my breeze in autumn. Now I feel you are the sun of my solar system. So you can read this poem on my Instagram, and the full poem, yeah.
What is it called? What is that one called? Just one moment. You have to.
It is called as Spiritual Love.
Spiritual Love, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Let's see. So I'll play this song for you guys. I wanted to lift up my friends, my colleagues. I'm not a singer. I tried to basically do karaoke, and it's called Esse Domani. It's an Italian song, and I translated it in English. And because many people do not know, are uncertain about their tomorrow, I thought that it was fit. It was very appropriate. It was suitable, particularly those people in India right now who are undergoing this tragedy and who are coping, trying their best, and they're not sure about their tomorrow. So meanwhile, ask any other questions, guys. Oh, so what's the Italian name of the song? So F frames, it's called Esse Domani. Esse Domani by Nina. What kind of music do you listen to, Haroon?
Anything that kind of brings me back to me when I'm not in my moods. So sometimes the energetic music, sometimes the soft music, and depends upon the mood I am in. So yeah, that's what I listen to.
Okay, I found it. I found the song. My own YouTube video that I lost. It was private because this was privately shared that I sent the link to some of my colleagues before. So here we go. I dedicate this song to all the people that we love by our side. Can you hear it? This quarantine, as well as others who are with us. E se domani io non potessi rivedere te, vediamo il caso che ti sentissi stanca di te. Quello che basta ad altra gente non mi darà. I see a smile there, Haroon.
Yeah, songs make us to, you know, if songs are making us to have the joy, then they are great.
felicità. E se domani, if tomorrow, sottolineo se, all'improvviso perdessi te, avrei perduto il mondo intero, non solo te. Now the translation. And now I'll translate in English. If tomorrow I were to lose you, and if tomorrow you would suddenly grow tired of me, then that which would be enough for others would not be enough for me. It could not replace the happiness that I would have lost. So if tomorrow, and I underline tomorrow, I were to lose you, then I would lose the entire world, not only you. E se domani, sottolineo se, all'improvviso perdessi te, avrei perduto il mondo intero, non solo te. Let's be grateful for the people who are by our side, who are next to us, whom we love. Let's create some energy. Yeah. So I hope you. I just wanted to lift.
I enjoyed
lift
it.
the people up. Yeah.
It's kind of emotional song, you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I think that it's with what's going on in India right now, with the pandemic in this entire year or so, I think with every single person that we've lost a piece of humanity, we've lost a piece of ourselves, a lot of us. And that's why it's important to at least be grateful for the people that we have with us today, right now. Whether or not we are in an area which is COVID-free, for example, Australia, New Zealand, you still have to think and be grateful for those people that you have, I think. But think about the people that are in India, going through what they're going through, and not just in India, and many other parts also as well. And let's be grateful. And that's why I wanted to share that karaoke piece. I'm not planning to become a singer.
No, you should sing. Why to be like that? You should sing. Express. Keep expressing whatever blessing you have been given.
Thank you.
Maybe it can, uplift someone. So this song was beautiful, and
that was the idea.
I loved it.
Yeah. Thank you, Haroon, so much. Have a great, wonderful week ahead, my friend.
Same to you.
Yeah.
Same to you. And
all the best. I hope
USA
that many people found this inspiring and energizing. I know that every time I speak to you, I do.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yep.
It's just that we all are great somewhere. Yeah.
And I look forward to many more of your works in the future. In fact, I'll try to connect with your Medium as well. I'm going to try to write a little bit more. I made that a goal of mine also, as well. Thank you, Razina. Thank you. She just joined. I'm going to post this. We're going to post this on LinkedIn and also here on my post, so you'll be able to hear the conversation. All right? Have a great week, my friends.
Thank you so much, and stay blessed. Best wishes. Always rock.
Thank you. Thank you.
Peace.